All right, let's do a deep dive into the Ravinia Festival for 2025. You know, you're always looking for those cool music experiences, and this year is looking like it could be huge.
It could be.
We're talking about the oldest outdoor music festival in North America, tucked away just outside of Chicago in Highland Park.
Right.
And just based on what we're seeing here, this festival is shaping up to be pretty special.
Oh, yeah. The interesting thing about Ravinia is that it's got such a rich history. I mean, it's been going on since 1904,
Wow.
but it still has that very relaxed outdoor kind of vibe. It's like world-class music under the stars, but with a picnic basket at your feet.
Okay, so speaking of picnic baskets, I see here that we can bring our own food and drinks.
Absolutely.
I'm into that. But wait, hold on. Taylor Swift,
Yes.
Paul McCartney,
Yeah.
and Yo Your Ma is working with John Legend. This lineup is ridiculous.
It is. And that's how they manage to get such a diverse crowd. They're not just focused on one genre of music. They've got like the Chicago Symphony Orchestra opening with Beethoven's Ninth for the classical fans.
All right, full disclosure. I'm not a huge classical music fan, but even I've heard of Beethoven's Ninth. That's like the big one, right?
It's definitely one of the most famous and influential symphonies ever written.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, beyond that, you have these pop icons, jazz legends like Herbie Hancock and Kamasi Washington. It's all mixed in there, familiar and the unexpected.
Okay. And what about these rising stars, Olivia Rodrigo and Billie Eilish? It really makes you wonder what other kind of hidden gems are tucked away in this lineup. This is seriously making me want to go this year. But before I book my tickets, I need to know, like, what is the experience actually like? Is it just about the music or what?
Yeah, that's the question. And from what I'm seeing here, Ravinia is so much more than just the music. It's about the whole experience. Think about all that lush greenery, the twinkling lights, and just an enchanting setting outdoors.
Okay.
They even have this Ravinia market where you can pick up all these unique gifts and souvenirs.
All right, so you're painting a pretty nice picture here, but let's get down to it. You mentioned this Yo-Yo Ma and John Legend collaboration. And I gotta say, it sounds a little out there. I mean, a world-renowned cellist and a pop superstar. Do you think it's gonna work? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, that's what makes it so exciting. It's kind of these unexpected pairings that Ravinia does so well. It's this chance to see these two incredibly talented artists push the boundaries of their genres and create something new.
Okay, I'm willing to give it a shot. But you know, as long as we're talking about pushing boundaries, I can't help but wonder, is Paul McCartney gonna stick to his classic hits? Or is he gonna surprise us with some newer material? I mean, do you think the set list is gonna appeal to a younger audience?
That's a good question. It speaks to how Ravinia tries to cater to such a wide variety of musical tastes. While McCartney's classics are a huge draw, I wouldn't be surprised if he throws in a few curveballs to keep things fresh and interesting for everyone.
Okay, so you've piqued my interest. I'm starting to see why Ravinia is such a big deal, but before I go too far down this rabbit hole, let's get practical. What advice would you give to someone like me who is thinking about going for the first time?
Well, the sources here are pretty clear about this one. Planning ahead is key, especially if you're trying to get tickets for some of those popular acts. And getting there early is essential if you want to get a good spot on the lawn.
Okay, that makes sense. I definitely don't want to be stuck behind a giant oak tree during Taylor Swift's performance.
Yeah.
So, since we're talking about being on the lawn, what should we bring? What are the picnic essentials for a successful Ravinia experience?
Comfort is key. You want blankets, chairs, maybe even a little folding table if you're really going for it. And of course, you'll want a cooler with all your favorite food and drinks. Because they do allow outside food and beverages, which is a big part of the Ravinia charm.
You know, it's funny. I've always thought of music festivals as these crowded places with overpriced snacks. But this sounds like a completely different animal. It's like almost like a giant musical garden party.
That's a great way to put it. It's this unique mix of high-quality music and a relaxed, communal atmosphere. It's not just about the performances. It's about sharing that experience with friends and family in nature.
All right, I'm sold on the whole vibe. But before we get carried away and start packing our picnic basket, let's go a bit deeper into the performances. We've got this crazy mix of classical, pop, jazz, rising stars. Where do we even start?
Well, knowing how much you love classic rock and discovering new talent, I think we should start with a closer look at Paul McCartney. And then maybe dive into some of those up-and-coming acts that might surprise you.
Okay, that sounds like a plan. Let's hear about what makes McCartney such an icon and then explore those rising stars. I'm ready.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so we're back, and I'm ready to hear more about this Ravinia Festival lineup. You mentioned Paul McCartney, and honestly, I can already picture myself singing along to Hey Jude under the stars. What is it about him that makes him such a captivating performer after all these years?
Well, it's his legacy, for one, his
Yeah.
stage presence, and just the sheer number of hits he's created. I mean, seeing a Beatle live is like a bucket list experience, and McCartney really delivers.
I can only imagine the energy of the crowd when that happens. But let's change gears for a sec to those up-and-coming artists that you mentioned. Who should we be keeping an eye on?
Okay, well, knowing you and how much you love discovering new music, I think you'd really like Olivia Rodrigo. Her songwriting is so raw and honest. It really reflects the experiences of Gen Z in a way that's relatable and insightful.
I've heard a few of her songs on the radio. What makes her stand out as a performer?
Well, she brings this vulnerability and authenticity to her music that really connects with the audience. It's like she's inviting you into her world, sharing her heartbreak and her triumphs all through song.
It's like a musical diary.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Who else should I add to my must-see list?
Well, given that you like these collaborations that blend different genres, you should definitely check out the local Chicago bands. Ravinia is known for showcasing a mix of these big names and local talent, giving you a real taste of the city's music scene.
That's awesome. It's like they're bringing the community right into the festival. But let's go back to the classical stuff for a second. We talked about the Chicago Symphony Orchestra's performance of Beethoven's Ninth. If someone like me, who's not a huge classical music fan, goes, what's the one moment that's going to give me chills?
Oh, listen for the Ode to Joy section. The way the music builds and layers with the voices is just incredibly powerful. It really embodies those themes of unity and
Right.
brotherhood.
I'm making a note to listen for that. You're making me really interested in this performance, even though I don't know much about classical music. But before we get lost in all of that, let's talk about those big pop stars again. You mentioned Taylor Swift earlier. What kind of show can we expect from her at Ravinia?
Oh, Taylor Swift is known for these high-energy shows and these elaborate stage productions. Imagine all of that energy translated to an outdoor venue like Ravinia.
That's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be a visual and auditory feast.
Oh man, I'm getting FOMO just thinking about missing out on this. And speaking of FOMO, let's get back to that Yo-Yo Ma and John Legend collaboration. At first, I was a little skeptical, but now you've got me curious. What songs do you think they might perform together?
Well, that's the beauty of it, right? It's so unpredictable. They might reinterpret some of Legend's more popular songs, but I'm really hoping for some surprising classical pieces woven in there.
It's like they're creating a new musical landscape right on stage. I love that. But let's not forget about those jazz legends we have on the lineup. We have two generations of jazz represented with Herbie Hancock and Kamasi Washington. What makes their performances stand out at a festival like this?
Well, Herbie Hancock is a true innovator. He blends jazz with funk, electronic music, even world music influences. His set is going to be this journey through jazz, showing off his musical talent.
Wow, I bet he's got some stories too after all these years.
Oh, yeah.
But what about Kamasi Washington? What does he bring to the stage?
He's like the new guard of jazz, breathing new life into the genre with his massive compositions and spiritual energy. His music is powerful and moving.
So it's like a masterclass in jazz all in one festival. This lineup is incredible. What is your personal highlight? What performance are you looking forward to the most?
Honestly, that Yo-Yo Ma and John Legend thing is at the top of my list.
Mm.
Seeing those two artists come together at Ravinia is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
Yeah, okay, you convinced me. I'm marking that one down as a can't miss. But before we go completely off the rails with all the amazing music, let's get back to the practical side of things.
Right, because we need a game plan to make all of this musical magic happen.
Exactly. Let's walk our listeners through those essential tips and tricks for getting the most out of their Ravinia experience.
We'll cover everything, from ticket strategies to transportation, and of course, packing the perfect picnic basket.
That's the key. All right, stay tuned, music lovers. We're about to give you everything you need to have an amazing time at Ravinia. All right, so we're back, and now it's time to talk about the practical side of Ravinia Festival 2025. We've talked about this awesome lineup, the unique atmosphere, but now let's make sure you have the essential info to make this experience amazing.
Think of it as your Ravinia survival guide.
Okay, I love it. First things first, tickets. How do we get tickets to this musical wonderland?
The Ravinia website is your best friend.
Okay.
It's got the full schedule, the lineup, and the most important thing, the ticketing information.
And I'm guessing those tickets go fast, like faster than a deep dish pizza in Chicago.
Oh yeah, especially for those big names like Taylor Swift and Paul McCartney. You'll want to set up those ticket alerts and be ready to go as soon as they're on sale.
Okay, got it. So tickets.check. Transportation. Check. Now, let's talk about the Ravinia experience itself. We keep talking about picnicking, which sounds so fun. But what do we need to bring for the perfect Ravinia picnic?
Well, think comfort and practicality. You want a sturdy blanket or some comfortable chairs. And if you want to go all out, maybe a little folding table could be a game changer.
Yeah, trying to balance cheese and crackers on my lap while listening to Beethoven doesn't sound ideal.
Right. Not to mention spilling your wine everywhere. And speaking of food and drinks, remember, Ravinia lets you bring your own. That's a big part of what makes this festival so special.
It's that communal picnic vibe under the stars that's so unique to Ravinia.
Exactly. You can pack your cooler with your favorite snacks, sandwiches, whatever you want. And of course, drinks to keep things festive.
But let's all be responsible, right? We want to enjoy the music, not end up as a cautionary tale.
For sure, moderation is key. Now, besides the food and where we're sitting, what else should people pack for a day at Ravinia?
Since it's outside, we need sun protection. Sunscreen, hats, sunglasses, all of it.
Yes, excellent point. And even though it's summer, those evenings can get chilly. So bring a light sweater or jacket just in case.
Oh, and don't forget the bug spray. There's nothing worse than trying to enjoy a performance with a bunch of mosquitoes buzzing around.
Absolutely. You've got to be prepared for anything to have the best time. So let's say you've arrived, you've got your perfect picnic set up, you're protected from the sun and the bugs. What tips do you have for getting around Ravinia and making the most of it?
It seems like getting there early to grab a good spot on the lawn is essential.
Oh yeah, 100%. The early bird gets the worm, and those good spots fill up fast. And once you're all settled in, take some time to explore.
Because there's more to see than just the main stage.
So much more. There are different performance spaces, that Ravinia market with all those interesting things to see, art all over the grounds. There's a whole world to discover.
It's like a musical choose your own adventure.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to chat with the other people there. Everyone loves music, so it's easy to connect.
That's part of what makes Ravinia so great, right? That feeling of community and shared experience.
Right. So before we finish up our Ravinia deep dive, any last bits of advice for someone who's about to head out on this journey?
I'd say pack your sense of adventure and be ready for some musical magic. Ravinia is where you can find new artists, rediscover some old favorites, and just make memories that will last forever.
Well said. Let the music move you, let the atmosphere take you away, and embrace all the amazing things that Ravinia has to offer.
This has been an awesome look into Ravinia Festival 2025. We went through the history, the lineup, the vibe, and even the practical stuff. Ravinia is so much more than a music festival.
It really is. It's a celebration of music, community, and those perfect summer nights filled with music.
So to all of you listening out there, get ready for an incredible time at Ravinia Festival 2025. Let the music be your guide.
And until next time, keep exploring the world of music.